Hello, everyone. It is Kenyon here talking to you on Basketball Zone. I started a new channel, Basketball Rewind. Check it out. For today, we're going to do some Raptors coverage. We just finished watching the game 132-120. The Raptors beat the Charlotte Hornets, and they play the Hornets again soon. I am joined by Coach of the North, Coach Roach. Coach, do you want to give any of your thoughts before I jump into a quick summary of the game?
Raptors shot the ball very well tonight. I think they shot, if I have my numbers here, 46% from three, and their league average, I think, is around 32, I believe. I think it's around that. So probably not a sustainable thing for this team, but it was much needed tonight because Charlotte shot 43% from three. So for two teams that are at the bottom of the league shooting three-pointers, they played like that was just not the case at all. It's like an alternate universe what we saw tonight. Very pleased with, once again, Pascal Siakam is doing everything on the court. He's scoring, he's rebounding, he's getting others involved. His defense, there were some plays tonight in which he was very good on the defensive end.
Uh,
He's once again showing that he's
yeah.
not just a scorer. I had this conversation with someone. No, he's a what I would call a baller. That's when you do everything out there. Um,
Yeah, I thought Pascal was phenomenal tonight. I also noticed that we rebounded the heck out of the ball. And speaking of Pascal, there was that one play near the very end of the game. We talked about it earlier, actually, where Pascal sealed off, I want to say Jaden McDaniels, might have been someone else, and he grabbed the rebound, and that was the second last play to quote unquote seal the game. The last play to seal the game, in my opinion, was the OG dunk on everyone, get out the way, I'm going to be petty about it type of a play, which came right after that. So it was back to back plays that, really showed the grit, the grind, the grime, and the edge that the Raptors had tonight. I will say this, though. The Raptors, and we talked about this as well, the Raptors did not play good defense. However, I will say from an offensive standpoint, OG, I will give him the player of the game just because he had his most refined or close to his most refined game of the season from that end of the floor. I was really impressed by that. I found that Scotty Barnes did a really good job of filling up the box score and finding other ways to be assertive and aggressive. I actually found him to be fairly assertive. I think that that's a point that you made on one of these Twitter spaces before, but I absolutely agree with that point. And the way that they were using him as a connecting piece, I don't care if people want to call him a center or not. I'm not into all that. All I know is this guy can play. He is a very high IQ player and he moves the ball. And tonight, I don't know what happened in that locker room over the past 48 hours, but someone was talking something and the ball was humming tonight. The ball has, in the past two games, I would say, the assist rate has actually trended in the correct direction. And we had 32 assists.
yeah, we are starting to see over the last few games limiting ISO ball. We are
Yes,
just not a very good team when it comes to ISO ball. When there is more ball movement, it's which is what I saw tonight. It just opens up the floor for everyone. Everyone wants to be involved. Everyone wants to get their touches. And if they know, that they're going to get their touches more than likely, then they're probably going to be more engaged on offense and more engaged on defense. Um,
absolutely.
you mentioned a good point earlier about the rebounding tonight. We had 18 offensive rebounds. Christian Coloco had six of them. He was very active on the offensive boards. Pascal Siakam had three offensive rebounds. Scotty had two. OG had two. And Boucher had two.
Yep.
Those guys are going to have to be active on, well, hope be nice if it was most games, but certainly to give us a chance to win, we need activity on the offensive board. Just because um, we're not a very good shooting team, even though we were tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we could we can always do better in that department for sure. The other thing that I will say is I want to give a quick shout out to Gary Trent. Throughout the season, I have been in a place where I've said he struggles with consistency and he also struggles passing. Well, he didn't really pass tonight, but over the past couple games, he has been much better with his consistency. It's apparently he worked on his shot with his dad as well as with Rico Hines after one of the games above the Scotiabank Arena where they have a practice facility for a while, and he really worked until he got it right. It's showing over the past couple games. He has been a lights out shooter, but more importantly, today he started to drive the ball a couple times. That's what I noticed. And I know some people say he needs to pass more. I do agree with that, but I'm not holding out hope on that. I think that if you can get him to at least drive, the rest of the game will open up automatically. And he actually did pass a little bit. He was very active on defense, and he found ways to contribute beyond just scoring. The off-ball movement from and gravity from him and Gary and OG, especially OG, because he was cooking up a storm from three, was absolutely integral to this win, in my opinion.
This is a bold take, and I know I've already mentioned this to you, but over the last few games, and maybe since Gary has come back or started since the Phoenix game, he's arguably been the second most important player on this team. And I say that only because he's going to the bench as well. Like he's starting with the starters, and then he's playing with the bench too. And now the bench has somewhat of a number one option. I really think Nurse's decision to move him to the bench after he comes off with the starters, usually the first sub off. He plays 6 minutes, sits the rest of the quarter, and then he starts the second quarter with the bench. That has been a tremendous move on their part, and I think moving forward we're going to see that. And I think because of that, we're going to see more bench production. We're going to see more of Koloko and Achua and Boucher be more involved. And certainly it's now, I won't get into this too much, but it's making the organization have to maybe think tougher about what to do with Trent.
Well, you
That's
did
all I'll
hear
say
the
about that.
reports, right, about that, basically saying that he has at all levels of the organization, he has fans now. And
You know,
so that's big time, and you can see how, yes, there is a tough decision coming up. We will definitely talk about that in another segment, possibly on Basketball Rewind. But beyond that, I think, yeah. Speaking of him coming off the bench, just to wrap up a little bit more of the game, one of the things that I noticed is that we got really good bench contributions. We actually won the bench minutes for once. Precious Achua did a really good job. Chris Boucher played a lot better game within himself, especially when he was crashing the boards. I think he's a much better player at when he plays within the game and lets the game come to him. And I think you saw that tonight. The other thing that's really great about the bench and the bench playing is most of your starters, Pascal had the highest amount of minutes, played less than 40 minutes. Pascal had basically 35 minutes
35
and
minutes.
50
Yep.
seconds. So, and that was the most. Everyone else was close to 30 minutes. That's what you kind of want to see. So I would much rather that. I would prefer not to run these guys into the ground, whether it's Pascal, Scotty, OG, anyone. I don't want to see anyone run into the ground. I don't want to see any injuries. Lastly, Christian Koloko, you mentioned him before. And the one thing that I'll say is I did say he was going to play, and I did say he was going to play 15, max 20 minutes at the beginning of the season. People laughed at me, but this is what I said. He needs time to develop. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he did also get some time on the 905, and that's also something that I called for. I wanted him when it was possible for him to get extra minutes in both places, similar to what they did with Bandon. So I don't know. Was that true? Did he get? I haven't watched the 905 game yet, but did he get a chance to play on the 905?
Sorry, is this Banton, you mean?
No, Koloko.
I
I
don't know if
was
he's
I
had
was
any
told
chance to
he
play.
was
Yeah,
assigned today, so I need to double check on that. But
okay, no, I don't think Koloko played or anything with. I don't think he's played with the 905 yet, has he?
no, no, he definitely hasn't. So I believe he was supposed to play today, but I have to double check. I didn't look at the box score. That's next, so we will see. But either way, I think the more minutes that you can get this young man, the
Hmm.
better. and I love it.
Yeah. Ideally, he just needs reps. Same with Precious.
Absolutely.
If the Raptors were to go out and get a big, you might want to consider then because he might follow the rotation a bit if you go and get like a big who's more experienced. I'll put it that way.
Yep.
But as of now, Koloko ever since the Phoenix game, has been playing very good. Should have played against the Bucks. Don't understand that move. But he's just been very active. He he's 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 learning.
He will get there.
He'll get
Um,
there.
I mean, I was cussed out at the beginning of the season for saying that he is better than Clint Capella in terms of his overall skill set, and I stand by that. I think in terms of his ability to read the game, it is much better than Clint Capella was at the same stage of his career.
Okay.
So that's one thing that I stand by. But with that being said, we got to get out of here. We will have a continuation of this discussion later um, on Basketball Rewind, and we're going to actually break down some plays there. So thank you so much. And, I will see you later for more recaps. Tim, have a blessed day, blessed night, and everyone, whenever you're seeing this, enjoy yourself. At least we got a win. Tank World Order did take an L. Sorry, Tank World Order, but it could still, the tank could still roll on because tanks are good at that. So we'll see what happens, and take care.